Hi everyone, it's Christopher, Mono County Library Director, and I'm back with two great library books for Book Talk Friday. Now, school has started up for the year, so this time I've chosen two novels for middle schoolers that will also appeal to adults. The first is Indian No More by Charlene McManus and Tracy Sorrell. It came out in 2019. Based on the author's own experience, this novel sheds light on the little talked about termination programs in the 1950s. These were actions by the US government that basically decided many native tribes were no longer sovereign and would no longer have government to government relations with the US or be entitled to their tribal lands. McManus tells this story through the eyes of 10-year-old Regina Pettit, whose family has been Umpqua in Oregon for countless generations, but suddenly, overnight, are designated no longer Indian and have to leave their home. Her father signs up for an Indian relocation program, and the family moves to Los Angeles in an attempt to find work and build a new life. But it's the 1950s. Not only are civil rights issues bubbling up, but many American kids who'd never met a Native American in person before only know them from what they've seen on the westerns, on TV, and at the movies. It's not a pretty picture for a 10-year-old girl suddenly confronted with an identity crisis about what it means to be an Indian and an American at the same time. Now, mostly written by Charlene McManus, who based the story on her family history, she died before it was finished. So her friend and fellow Native author Tracy Sorrell stepped in to finish the novel. And there's a lot to learn in this story, and it came out to great reviews, including from the American Indians in Children's Literature resource, which promotes positive and accurate representation of tribal stories in kids' books. Now, my other choice for this week is New from Here by Kelly Yang. It just came out this year. Yang is an award-winning author of children's and teen books, including the best-selling Front Desk. Like Indian No More, New from Here is drawn from the author's personal experience, and it follows the 10-year-old child as he experiences culture shock and more from being uprooted to a new home. He is Knox, the precocious middle child of a biracial family living in Hong Kong, and when COVID virus is first reported, his parents decide that the kids will relocate with their Chinese-born mother to California, where they own a home, while their white father will remain in Hong Kong because his work doesn't allow him to join them. The shock of separation from his father hits Knox hard, and it's not helped by what they're confronted with when they settle in the US, where anti-Chinese sentiment fuels racism and fears for their father in an increasingly restrictive Hong Kong. Soon, the siblings form Operation Dad Come Over to try to raise money and then find a new job for their father to rejoin them in California. In a moving author's note at the end, we learn Kelly Yang herself was living in Hong Kong with her husband and 3 children when the COVID crisis broke. And in early 2020, they made the very quick and very difficult decision that she and the children would pack what they could and leave behind her husband. She describes their parting this way: "As we hugged Dad goodbye and I hurried towards one of the last United flights from Hong Kong to California, my children, Elliot, Tilden, and Nina, tried their hardest to be brave behind their face masks. Still, I could see the tears soaking my son Tilden's mask. Dad was his best friend. It felt like we were boarding a lifeboat on the Titanic without him. It didn't hit me until I actually sat down on the plane that this would be the first day in our ongoing, sometimes hilarious, deeply emotional struggle as a long-distance family." Now, Yang turned this experience into a compelling and moving story that became an immediate bestseller. You can find New from Here as well as Indian No More at Mono County Libraries, along with a whole bunch of other really compelling middle school reads. Come in and find one that grabs you. In the meantime, happy reading and welcome back to school.